equitable and inclusive education of NEP 2020 and in becoming inclusive educators to adapt to the present scenario of accommodating children with special needs is the topic for discussion today. And with me, Ms. Anju Jacob, is Ms. Rennie George.
What are the points we are about to highlight in this discussion?
We will touch upon the salient features, intervention, benefits, provisions listed for inclusive education in NEP 2020. Before understanding inclusiveness, it is important for us to become inclusive educators. Ms. Rennie, what is pivotal in becoming inclusive educators?
Well, to become inclusive educators, it is important to understand that there are children with different learning needs in every classroom, and children with disabilities educated in regular schools perform well compared to those in special schools.
Rightly said, an inclusive environment benefits all the children, not just those with disabilities, but also exceptionally gifted children. With this, let us look into the salient features.
Education is the right of every child. Our educational system aims to benefit all the children irrespective of any of their disabilities.
With this, let us look into the salient features.
Education is the right of every child. Our educational system aims to benefit all the children irrespective of any of their disabilities.
Yes, agree. Inclusive education is the right of every child and their parent. In inclusive classroom, we can see children of different learning style, talents, powers and ability level.
And also, it embraces a mix of all children including regular learners, students with disabilities like physically handicapped, multi-disorders and visual and hearing problems, etc. All students, regardless of any challenges, should be placed in age-appropriate classes that would benefit them to meet success in their curriculum.
You mean to say a child who is 10 years old with a disability should be placed in grade 4 or
class
5 and not in a class below, so that they get along and learn with the normal kids. Now let us see some of the major intervention for inclusive education under NEP 2020.
It includes barrier-free environment.
An environment which enables people with disabilities, small children, to move around safely and freely and to use the facilities available within the built environment.
Yes. What about awareness creation?
Definitely, it is very important to ensure children with special needs are provided extra benefit required to help them to be at par with other children.
But most important is training of teachers.
Because teachers spend maximum time with children, it is very important to train teachers. Only then they can understand the special needs of children and accordingly fulfill it. Apart from this, we also have curriculum adaptation and distribution of study materials. And of course, assessment and corrective measures. Now let us move on with the benefits of inclusion. It is a process of reducing the gap between learners with and without special educational needs.
It helps special needs students to develop interactional skills because of the exposure to a social environment and rejects the need of special schools.
As per NEP 2020, children with disabilities will be enabled to fully participate in regular schooling process from the foundation stage to higher education. And what about curriculum framing?
Well, while preparing the National Curriculum Framework, NCERT will ensure that Consultations are held with expert bodies before finalizing the curriculum for special need children.
Now let's discuss some of the major provisions for children with disability.
In particular, assistive devices and appropriate technology based tools, as well as adequate and language appropriate teaching learning materials.
This will apply to all school activities including arts, sports and vocational education. What will be the role of NIOS?
National Institute of Open Schooling, NIOS, will develop high quality modules to teach Indian Sign Language and to teach other basic subjects using Indian based language, mostly applicable for children with speech issues.
And what about children with severe visual disability?
In modern inclusive classrooms, Braille will be used for such students to improve their reading and writing skills.
Most classrooms have children with specific learning disabilities who need continuous support.
Yes, research is clear that the earlier such support begins, the better the chances of progress.
Teachers must be helped to identify such learning disabilities and plan specifically for their improvement.
What kind of action can be extended for those children?
Specific actions will include the use of appropriate technology, allowing and enabling children to work at their own pace. Assessment and certification agencies will also play an important role to formulate guidelines and recommend appropriate tools for conducting assessment from the foundation stage to higher education.
The awareness and knowledge of how to teach children with specific disabilities will be an integral part of teachers' education program.
Even though inclusive education has many good intentions, inclusive education in practice faces numerous challenges today.
Yes.
What are the major challenges?
The major barriers to inclusive education are special education needs, attitudinal barriers, curriculum framing, untrained teachers, and infrastructural constraints.
Implementation of inclusive education is possible only by the active involvement of the management, administrators, teachers, and parents of normal and differently abled children.
Finally, to fulfill our constitutional responsibility to develop a healthy citizenship and self-reliance, practicing inclusive education is highly essential in the modern educational era. Thank you.